welcome back. You were going to let me do it, weren't you? Were you going to jump in yourself? Never, ever. You know, the credits are going down, and then he gives the cue. Always leaves everything to the last minute, as his lovely lady friend will no doubt testify. Listen, you're watching Scotty, and that's Motty. It's Monday. We're going to be talking about all things Manchester United and football related. But before we get into any of that, would you flog Bruno Fernandes for £150 million? Please make sure you're subscribing and liking the video. We're close to 11,000 now. I'd love to hit that off the back of this video. So make sure you're pressing like and subscribe. Costs you naught, but means a hell of a lot to us. So, Jay.
Yes.
First, what happened with the Twitter?
Oh, mate, right. I got a DM saying that you've been done for copyright. And it looked like it was from an official Twitter thing. Like, it was a blue tick. I know that doesn't mean anything anymore, but it said, like, from ex-admin or something. So it looked like it was true or real. And I thought, and it said, like, copyright infringement, 24 hours, your account could get revoked. Click on this link to fill out a form, and the form link looked legit as well. It was like X feedback or whatever it said. I clicked on the link and it did take you through to the form. The trouble was that must have given them access to my account, because as soon as I did that, I got an email saying your email's been changed for your Twitter account. Hacked. Started DMing everyone. They started posting on my Twitter, crypto, whatever it was, just a load of nonsense. Changed my profile to X admin or whatever, the one they got me with. Started trying to do the same thing to other people, and then I managed to get my account back, but I'm still on the restricted thing, so I can't have a change my profile pic at the minute. But at least I've stopped them, because they were spamming everyone. I was like, oh my god, this is a nightmare. And then people were like tweeting saying, look, Jay's been hacked through, and then they were blocking people as well.
Were they often saying that?
We're saying that, so it was just a bit of a nightmare. I mean, obviously it's first world problems. I'm glad I got it back, but it was really annoying, man. It really was. It's still annoying me.
I thought someone had realised that your password's Love Island.
Well,
they didn't need to go around the houses.
No, I've changed it now. It's now Love Island with an exclamation mark. So, the joke's on them. Yeah, it was pretty drastic, but like I say, it got sorted. It's just one of them, when you see someone on your account tweeting out on your account, I was like, and then I was getting loads of people messaging me, right? And it was a bit like, I get it. People are sort of trying to be nice or whatever, but my mum was tweeting from my account like crypto this, crypto that, and I was getting people messaging me saying, Jay, have you been hacked? I was like,
no, really big in the crypto.
I've just decided I'm going to start spamming everyone with crypto tweets. So yeah, it was annoying as fuck, but I managed to get it back. So yeah, thank you to everyone who reached out. Santa Notch says #save Jay Motty. Jace Parker says, evening Jay, evening David, been missing you both immensely of late. Good to see you too. Good to see you. Heaven Soul saying, Jay getting his second roasting of the day regarding the Twitter hacking. Yes, I got a bit of a roasting on Stretford Paddock for the Twitter hacking as well. Maka actually had the tweet that went out, the DM that went out, and read it out and highlighted how stupid I was to fall for it. Yep, I am very, very foolish. Andy's Cardboard Star Wars says, never follow links, even if they look legit. I agree. Mick Holohan says, please don't go Bruno. Yes. The story on the thumbnail, Bruno Fernandes. I will just give you a little bit of background to this, my friend. So, according to Court Offside, I'm reading this off the People's Person, Sam People's website, and it says here, sources close to Al Nassr's plans have revealed to Court Offside that the club are assessing their financial capabilities to land Bruno Fernandes in a blockbuster transfer. It goes on to say they're willing to offer him 70 to 80 million pound a year, and also the top there in the headline it says Al Nassr plot 150 million euro, I think it is, million pound bid for the Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes, of course. Now, I love Bruno Fernandes more than I love my own children, but the question is it remotely worth it? In any sort of aspects of this, do you look at this and go, and I'm not saying that I do, I'll get to my own opinion in a minute, I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate, as we like to do on this channel, saying he's 29 years old, 150 million euros, whatever, you could reinvest that into probably two very good midfielders who are a bit younger, who could give you potentially, 7 or 8 years, where he might only have 4 or 5. Is it worth considering? That would be the question if you were looking at it from a completely objective, I'm not Bruno Fernandes' biggest fan, which I am, I'm just someone who's looking at it from a business point of view. Do you think there's any weight to this? I'm not saying it's going to happen, by the way. Caught offside are sort of reliable, but I'm not saying this is going to happen. This might just be rumours or whatever, conjecture or whatever. But is there any part you think that this could be a good move?
For Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I think it could make sense, depending on how much money we're expected to bring in from sales in the summer. He's 29, but I think he's 30 in September, isn't he?
He's 29 till he's 30.
But I think that this is a very different conversation a week before the FA Cup final.
In what way?
I think the pass for Mainoo's goal, which was sensational, has sort of risen his stock because, like most of Manchester United players last season, excluding the aforementioned Kobbie Mainoo, didn't have great seasons. You know, Fernandes was better than one of the best of a bad bunch, and this is like devil's advocate, but I think that 150 mil, moving forward, investing other positions that we might need players for, he'd need replacing. So I don't think we're going to get like for like. It would depend on if we are getting a new manager and what he'd want to sort of look at the sort of style of play. I feel sorry for Bruno a lot of the times for playing for Man United because everything seems to go through him. The man never gets a day off. Do you know what I mean? And if if he's playing bad, then United are playing bad, and that's been the testament certainly this season. Looking at it from the other point of view, though, what more feasibly can Bruno Fernandes achieve at Manchester United? He's won the Carabao Cup. Yeah. Right? He's won the League Cup. He's not going to win the league. We're not winning the league next 2 years.
Is it the League Cup, not the Carabao Cup?
FA Cup, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever.
You know.
Like, you don't know.
He's won the 2 domestic cups. He's not going to win the Premier League with United. Maybe he'll get a Europa League. We're not. Don't start. You're going early again.
I'm not good. Like Bruno Fernandes, right, can be at Manchester United for the next 5 years, and Manchester United can win the Premier League in the next 5 years. That's not beyond the realms of possibility whatsoever. It really isn't.
Right. Do you think his star may be on the wane?
No, I don't.
No?
I feel for Bruno. I really do. And I think that you've got to look at the mess that Bruno Fernandes finds himself in terms of the players around him, right?
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. In terms of chances created, I think in terms of not just chances created, big chances created, he tops the charts every single year, including this one just gone.
He's our best player. I'm not
but my point is, he creates chances. He creates big chances. A lot of the time, they're not getting converted. He's got players alongside him. For about half the season, he didn't have Kobbie Mainoo. He had Casemiro, whose performances have gone to pot, basically. I think Casemiro's been linked with the move away as well. Casemiro hasn't performed. Amrabat came in, didn't perform. I know he did very well in the cup final. Scott McTominay was scoring loads of goals, but then he stopped scoring, and I think when he stopped scoring those goals, I don't think his performances were particularly impressive, if I'm being brutally honest. He's had a merry-go-round in the defence behind him. He's had a patchy output from the strikers and the attackers in front of him. Rasmus Højlund took 14 Premier League games to get going. I know he scored in the Champions League. Marcus Rashford's form deserted him. Antony was almost completely and utterly useless. Jadon Sancho ended up back at Dortmund. Amad Diallo didn't start really getting an opportunity until February. So you've got almost everything around you is chaotic and underperforming, and you're still putting up the sort of performances and numbers that in any other team, I think he'd be lauded as. I know he gets a lot of praise anyway, but I think you could take Bruno Fernandes, and I think you could put him in any of the successful teams in Europe, and I don't think he'd look out of place.
This is what I mean. So does it benefit Bruno Fernandes to look for a move elsewhere, given the circus that's around him, and if say we haven't got a transfer budget, to try and move on towards winning the Premier League as you sort of dreamed about? Let me ask you a different way. If Manchester United haven't got a transfer budget in the summer, but the sale of Bruno Fernandes would bring 150 million in, would you sacrifice Bruno so we could bring players in, or would you be happy to go again with what we've got?
I can't see a scenario where Manchester United only get money for selling Bruno. For me, there's
decent money though.
There's I think you're going to sell Mason Greenwood. I do. I don't think you're going to keep.
How much are you going to get for Mason Greenwood?
I think you get at least 30 million for him. I think Jadon Sancho, you probably get at least 30 million from him. There's 60 million. I don't buy into the idea we've got no money whatsoever. I think the sort of conservative estimate was around 45 million. all right, let's say that is the case, and that's very conservative. That's your starting budget. So then you sold those 2 players I mentioned. Maybe as well you sold someone like a Scott McTominay or Harry Maguire for 25, 30 million. So then you're on to 130 million there. So then you've got potential to buy 2 more players. And this is all being very conservative, by the way, in my estimates. I don't think I'm overpricing anyone, and I don't think I'm overstating what United's transfer budget is. I expect it to be more than 45 million. I'm just going on the sort of the bottom end of what's been suggested. So I think there's still scope to sell players and bring in revenue and have a little bit of kit without touching Bruno Fernandes.
Yep.
Another issue I've got is we all go, well, it's INEOS now, it's different. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. All right, it might be, but we don't know that yet. We haven't seen the evidence of that. I expect it will be, but you don't know it for definite. And look at the money that Manchester United have spent over the last 3 or 4 years. You could sell Bruno Fernandes and you could go out and you could spend that 150 million euros on another Antony and another Casemiro, and then in a year's time you're having to replace them 2 because they haven't worked out and you've lost your best player. And I personally, and I know other people may disagree because he's such a high energy player and he gets around a lot and I think Bruno Fernandes could be one of those players that plays into his mid-30s. I do. He's fit as a fiddle. He's never injured. And I think also he's got the intelligence and the ability to adapt his game slightly if maybe his legs aren't quite what they used to be as he gets a little bit older. I think he has that ability in him. And also, if United have a real plan, then you can say, OK, instead of you going here, there and everywhere, you sit there like you did in the cup final a little bit, and you have so-and-so, whoever behind you, Amrabat or whoever.
If he has a team around him.
Yeah, you have Amrabat and Kobe Mainoo behind you, so you're not having to do all the donkey work there, and you have decent players in front of you or alongside you, so you're getting a little bit more joy out your wingers or whatever, then I think that could work. So, for me, I understand the argument. I know you're not necessarily saying you want to do it, you're making a point. I understand the argument that this could be the Felipe Coutinho money. Yeah. Like, this could be the money that buys you the Mo Salah and the Virgil van Dijk and the and all that. I just don't see it.
That is a possibility. Though, when you made the Philip Coutinho, they went on, and signed great players afterwards. So whilst in the past we have bought duds, if you look at the Ronaldo money and what I love Tony Valencia, but the other 2 that came alongside
Obertan and Michael Owen,
that summer weren't worth a piece of piss. But yeah, there is that opportunity. But again, that's the faith that you have in INEOS. And I want to talk to you about this. This still feels very Glazerish. I know we're only a few days into the pre-season as such, or post-season. Yeah. Still a managerial circus. We don't know what's happening. There's been a leak before the FA Cup final to The Guardian that INEOS and Sir Jim Ratcliffe haven't dismissed. Yeah. It's a week since that. There's been no mention of if he is coming or new managers are coming in, of whether he's going. All this sort of players going here, Casemiro, obviously Varane's gone now. Are you worried? Because in my mind, the longer it goes on, I get a horrible feeling in my gut that they're waiting for the Euros to finish and Gareth Southgate be announced. And
that's
I will
not ridiculous.
Be the first person in the Stretford end with a bring back Eric Ten Hag sheet.
Well, and rightly so, because Eric Ten Hag is a far better manager than Gareth Southgate. He just fucking is. Yeah. Like, whether you like Ten Hag or not, or not saying you don't like him, but whether you think he's good enough for Manchester United or not, I tell you what, I guarantee you one thing: he is much better than Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate will not win you a trophy at Manchester United. Gareth Southgate would not win 3 titles at Ajax. He would not get to a Champions League semi-final. He would not do the double at Ajax twice, whatever it was he did. Like, Gareth Southgate ain't got it in him. He hasn't. He's not that guy. And he's not going to come into Manchester United and get Manchester United challenging at the very top. And this is a good opportunity now as well, because you've got clubs and teams in transitional periods. Chelsea have just changed their manager again. Liverpool are going to change the manager for the first time in a decade. Yeah. There's a good chance that in the next 2 years Pep Guardiola moves on from Manchester City, and they have some form of repercussions from these charges, whether that's just a transfer ban or some points deducted or whatever. They might have something that alters the landscape for them slightly. The only one who look relatively stable, like they're not going to change anything, is Arsenal. So for me, bringing in Gareth Southgate when everyone else is changing and going through this, somewhat murky period, would be a double disaster, because you're not capitalising on what's going on around you, and also you're bringing in a manager who is only club experience, saw him get relegated with Middlesbrough and then get sacked when they're in the Championship. Yeah. He's got nothing about him that makes me think he could be a good manager for Manchester United. I don't think he's a particularly great man manager. I disagree with this idea, he gets the best out of players. I don't think he does. I think he's very fortunate in 2 respects, in the sense that he's had a very easy run in terms of the tournaments he's gone to, and also he's got a very good set of players for England. Now, I understand other managers have had good players, other managers have had relatively easy run-ins and flopped, and they have. Look at the likes of Steve McClaren and Roy Hodgson, managers like that. But they've been very bad. Just because you're okay doesn't make you great.
And I think as well, to give some credit to Hodgson and so on, obviously they went out to comical clubs. Was it Iceland we got beat by?
In 2016 Euros.
But if you look across the sort of international football in terms of competitors, England's stock has never been higher than they are under Gareth Southgate in terms of favourites going into competitions. I think he's been a failure as an England manager. But do you think this whole thing with the league has been dealt badly by INEOS? Should they have made, if they are going to make the decision, should they have made it before the FA Cup or just afterwards now? Like, does it do anyone any good, this sort of hanging around?
I understand the idea of not doing it before the FA Cup. I completely agree with that. 100%.
But once the league had come out, I would have expected it to only been a few days afterwards. So now INEOS either turn around and say, well, I don't know where the Guardian's got it from, we're not getting rid of him. Or the Guardian were right and we're just dilly-dallying around. There's three managers out there now, De Zerbi. I'm not saying these are the ones, by the way. De Zerbi, Poch and Tuchel, who were without jobs. And I think two of them at least, you know, you'd expect INEOS to have done their due diligence and research into their managers and their capabilities. I mean, Poch was interviewed for the United job 2 years ago, so, you know.
There's rumours that he's been spoken to again.
Yeah, so I just don't understand, like, this sort of what's happening in terms of that.
There's loads of different arguments and cases being made for why they've not made a decision yet. There's the idea that they didn't want a Louis van Gaal. They didn't want to just sack him after the cup final. They wanted to at least give him his holiday, give him a break, give a little bit of a buffer between the final finishing and then announcing that he was no longer the manager, because a lot of people look back at what happened with Van Gaal and thought it was handled really badly for a manager. Wasn't even able to celebrate the win because he basically got sacked that evening, and I think it was a pretty disgraceful way for Manchester United to act. So there's that argument. I don't know if it's true that if they are going to get rid, they just went, we're not going to do it now. We're going to wait a couple of weeks because there's no mad rush. We can wait 2 weeks, then announce it, and then, you know what I mean, have a little bit of a breather where he's able to go away, go on holiday, and then come back and we have that meeting or that announcement. There's the idea that they're still doing this review, that the review hasn't finished. Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth's not even in the job yet. So there's that whole argument of, well, some of the people that have to be involved in that decision aren't making any decisions yet. So there's that. There's the argument that maybe, like you say, they're waiting for the Euros or they're waiting for something to see if you know, there's a manager out there that's available. I don't think so, but it is an argument I'm being heard. And the other sort of argument is that they're still having to maybe wait for Erik ten Hag himself, or he's gone back from his holiday. I think he's on holiday at the minute. So have these discussions about if he is going to stay, how things are going to be different in terms of his role and what he can do and what he can't do. I don't know how true any of these are, because there's so much conjecture that it's difficult to know. But it's just frustrating from a fan's point of view.
Yeah, especially when we've seen how many bad post or pre-seasons have gone in the past. We thought of with Ratcliffe and INEOS coming in that it might be a little bit of a smooth sailing in towards the new season, but not so much so far. Make sure you're subscribing and liking the video. What are people saying in the comments?
They're saying in the comments that let's have a look. Alex Course has changed formation. Alex Course also says 4-4-2, the United way. Tiger UK says both Eze and Elise would be good business for the right price. And Alex Course says Bruno Ferguson wouldn't play Bruno as a cam. Tiger UK also says transfer silly season is upon us. And then Alex Court says bye Bowen. I think we're going to cut it a little bit short tonight. We're doing a shorter one. Because I've got to go and take my kids and my missus to Nicki Minaj.
No, Jay's gone watching Nicki Minaj.
So Ethan, if you can do the honours,
wait. That's what I say. Just want to pass on our thoughts and love to Kevin Campbell, former Arsenal, Everton, West Brom, Trabzonspor striker who's in hospital and is really ill at the moment. So if you've got any prayers and well wishes towards him, take care, Kev. What a legend he is.
One of the good guys, man. Yeah. We've had him on Stretford Paddock and when we were full-time Devils. Just a great guy, and we wish him all the best.